We're back in the saddle again.
Back in the saddle like we never left. Sorry.
That's right. That's right.
It took over. It took over. I just had to get that out.
A real
We may have
cowboy.
to put.
Go. What?
Do we put tunes behind that and make that our intro little jingle?
I mean, I don't. Yeah, maybe.
I thought I sounded pretty good there. I don't know how you felt about you, but I thought I sounded pretty good.
You always sound good. That's the thing. I don't know. I don't want people to think this is like too country. I might be worried if we did that, right? We might have to record.
In the saddle like we never left.
We might have to record in like on saddles if we did that.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
Get you some nice
episode 4. Episode 4. We're back. No. We're back.
How did we get here? 4, really? I mean, damn. Determination.
Hard work. Determination. Consistency. TRT replacement therapy.
Yes. Chest hair. A lot of chest hair.
Yeah. Oh, pythons.
Mustache.
Yeah, man.
Beard.
Episode 4.
Testosterone.
You were saying that coming off episode 3, you wanted to briefly touch on Mr. Columbo.
Yeah, I just thought it was really sweet and very important that Arnold kind of touched base on male relationships. Banshees of Inisherin, great film.
Yeah.
A great take on them. But, he's just talking about how like Columbo was like his best friend and it was such a big loss and he really loved him and kind of always looked out for him. And that was towards the end of the doc. And I hadn't watched up to that point yet. They kind of touch base a bit on the war in Russia and Ukraine, and like Arnie's just like into camera talking to people because he saw what it did to his country and he just, he didn't want that to happen again. And I don't know, man. I think Arnold's for president.
Yeah, I mean, to circle back on Franco, Franco, honestly, I think most people would probably say Franco is pound for pound stronger than Arnold. And honestly, maybe even bigger than Arnold. He just was so small because I forgot what his height was, but he was tiny.
Right.
And so Franco would always win the small guy division, and then he would end up going up against Arnold. And just on stage, Arnold at 6'2", whatever, 2 something versus Franco, he just always won because he looked better. But
yeah,
I love the friendship those guys had, and it was they showed like a shot of them playing chess, and then they showed a shot of Arnold like at the chess set alone. So it was touching, man. And I know he did a lot for Franco, like putting him in because he had cameos in T1, and he had some other slight little movie roles, but
he was always looking out for him, the little mini mini Italian stallion.
Yeah, legit. Yeah. And he trained Stallone at one point when Stallone wanted to take it to the next level.
Oh,
Franco did.
Yeah. Speaking of Stallone, recently just came out and crowned Arnold action number 1.
Action GOAT number 1. And I think it's true. I was having this conversation the other day, but I think Arnold is number 1. You have to put him number 1.
He's done it all, like literally, and he was the biggest box office guy forever. And he wasn't doing pieces of shit like Megalodon. Sorry, Jason.
How the heck in the Meg trailer are you going to show me this Meg eating a T-Rex and then a second later show it Jason Statham stopping the Meg from eating him by just sticking his foot out? Like, come on, guys. We can't do that.
Obviously, he has more powerful quads and hammies than a T-Rex, and maybe he does. Maybe he does. I don't know.
True.
Yeah,
that is true.
His body has gone through a transformation. If you haven't seen, there's a music video out there we both watched recently, and like Jason Statham, it's just like layers of him dancing in the background for that like London techno.
Yeah.
Oh my god, look it up.
Dude, listen,
find it if you have it.
Everyone has to get their first job, right? And that's what it was. Welcome to showbiz.
For some of us, we were on Next. Guilty. We'll talk about that another time.
Probably
Okay.
better that you were on that than Room Raiders, dude. You didn't want them going with the black light.
Oh no.
That would have been a disaster.
So good. Both also recently watched Blackberry. Just honorable mention, Michael Ironside, just because
Yeah.
Free Willy, and then we just watched that and he's in there. Guy's still doing it, still crushing it. Great
Still a
film,
great
actually. Really
villain.
enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I really like that movie, and he's such a classic villain. He played a villain so many times. Um, has gained a little bit of weight,
It was for the
but
part.
don't we all? Yeah, don't we?
He was
But
in the
yeah.
discussion for getting the whale, okay? And when he lost the part, he had a hard time losing the weight.
Shout out to Michael Ironside, still doing it, still doing it. But yeah,
Still
that was a
crushing
fun
it.
movie. I like that movie.
Dude, oh my God. Dennis was amazing in it.
Oh, so funny.
Amazing.
We
Glenn
gotta
Howerton.
talk about American Gladiator, though, the new doc that just came out on ESPN that we watched.
Yeah. That's really what we're here to discuss. We figured we started out with Arnold's Anomaly. You got the Stallones, the Hogans, the Van Dams, the world where these guys have just accomplished like unreal feats. And then, you have American Gladiators, which, believe it or not, at one point was the most viewed television show, like in the early 90s, right?
Number one show. Yeah. Hit show. And I think, what in the doc, the creator was talking about, well, creator in quotes, we'll dive into that, but how Arnold, Stallone, and all those guys kind of started that whole fitness movement of people wanting to be in shape and look like Greek gods. And that was kind of a big inspiration for the American Gladiator show.
Everybody was juicing.
Dude,
everyone.
Those guys were juiced. They look great, but those guys were cracked. Like, oh my God.
And they needed it, though. They were taking a beating. This was definitely during the fucking muscle America mania, where it was just like everything was bigger, testosterone filled. We might be kind of pivoting or moving out of that at this moment, but I think this was the first instance. Like back then, there weren't the Liver Kings, and there weren't, all these juiced out YouTube guys and influencers. Like you had American Gladiators. They ran from 89 to 96, had a great run. This documentary, dude, how much hair dye do you think was used during production? Like, holy shit.
I honestly think that's why there's a shortage today, because of that 7-year run.
It was like that, and just like the Bosley technique.
Dude, just so like flat top, and then Malibu with just the flow was unreal.
Sorry, dude.
And probably one of my favorite. What the heck? What are you eating in the middle of the show?
Oh, bro,
is that are those wieners?
Hey, sausages. Okay.
Oh, okay, sausage. Okay.
Very healthy meal. Really simple to make on the go. It's a lazy ass fitness wrap. You stuff some sausages, a little organic cheese in there. Maybe some nutritional yeast, a nacho style nutritional yeast, and sprinkle a little Zabs on there, and you're good to go.
Hey, get your protein in, baby. So American Gladiators. If you're not familiar with the show, essentially it was a team of gladiators who were these like superhumans, right? And you then would get a bunch of average Joes, both guys and girls, who would compete against these superheroes of humans in different competitions. There was like classic backyard games like tug of war and like tackle football, where you had to put a ball into a hoop, and there's like a rock climb. There's all these weird games that they invented. The rock climbing one was mad fun. But
the assault gun where they just rocked them. That was amazing when
people.
when the Viper dude was like, I don't know, I think they were like chanting like he's a pussy or something like that. So he just started firing off the assault balls like into the audience.
Dude, he turned on the crowd. I mean, basically, if you've ever seen the movie Running Man, kind of with Arnold, it's kind of the same premise. Like they throw him in just these crazy different games with these characters. And what I think was so fun about the doc is that it goes behind the scenes of the show, and you really get to know the gladiators, the creator, quote unquote, creators.
Yeah,
Because,
Johnny Ferraro.
side note, the show may have been stolen. Um, and you just see like how much craziness was going on, and like how that show was on at the perfect time, because the shenanigans that were happening on that show you would not be able to do today on a TV show.
Oh, no way. Like multiple instances of CTE and then having to like film a second show. They were doing what? 52 shows, and I think they said they were doing 2 a day. So
Yep.
somebody was performing at like half. Dude, remember what you were saying about the tuostat, about like when you compound um concussions,
Concussions.
that it
Yeah.
like lowers the function of the brain, like if you got a concussion and it was functioning at half
Yep.
or even 75%, like another one would push it down to like 25.
Yeah, it was so bad, dude. So bad. And,
Bad
they had
math,
that
bad
one
science.
game. No, it's bro science. It's all good, baby. But they had that one game where they would literally have like a 200-pound average Joe swing Tarzan style and just kick a gladiator off of like a 15-foot platform. And they show you Malibu, unfortunately, was on the receiving end, and he
Was the test
concussioned,
dummy.
dude, concussion. But he said, I can't not be there for show 2 or else I won't get paid, which we come to find out they were making under $500 an episode. Like, what, for the number one show on TV? It's absolutely bonkers. That's
Paying for their
I don't
own medical, somebody in line just waiting to take your spot if you miss it.
dude, extras today make more than $500 a day. Like, that's crazy to me, to just stand
And
there.
they spend most of the time just sitting and then like pretending to eat food.
Literally every Tyler Perry movie, look it up. There's countless
Yes.
examples of extras in the
Yes.
background who are prominently seen, and they're just eating their spoon. Like, there's no food on their plate. They're just eating a spoon. It's unreal. It's the best stuff.
I
Anyways,
knew
I
I could
digress.
trigger you. I knew I could trigger
Oh,
you into the
God.
Tyler Perry. I was
I
like
hate
praying and hoping that you would come out with that.
those movies are so bad. I'm sorry.
Wait,
Anyways,
honestly, I've never watched a Medea film.
oh, I don't think you're missing much, dude. But okay, so let's get into the doc. So the doc opens on this part Nick Cage, part Donald Trump, part Elvis impersonator named Johnny Ferrero.
Yes.
And
yes.
I mean, legit, guys, we're not making this up. You have to look him up. He's got the jet black dyed hair. He's wearing like the big collared, all white outfits, the glasses, the rings. And at one point, I think he even said, like, once Elvis died, he felt like he needed to be the next dude to continue the legacy, so to speak.
Oh yeah, that's how he
And he
made
was
his
a
living at
singer.
first.
Yeah, he was a singer, songwriter, performer. Johnny Ferrero. Obviously, you know Johnny Ferrero.
Oh my god, insane! If they ever decide to do a biopic about this guy, Tim Allen would be a perfect Johnny
Oh, I would
Ferraro.
love to see that. I would love to, who do you think would make a good the other guy
Apache
who we'll get
Dan?
into later? Yeah, Apache
Oh
Dan.
my god. If Lee Majors was still alive, I would love to see Lee Majors play Apache Dan.
R.I.P.
Shit. What's the name of the guy? I don't think again, I might be like talking about another person who's passed on. But the dude in Bloodsport with the bandana,
Oh, Ray Jackson.
he could be a pretty good Apache Dan.
Yeah,
I don't know
Ray
if he's too
Jackson.
old now, or if he's with us any longer, but he would make for a really good Apache Dan.
Yeah, he's
Kumote,
awesome.
baby.
Kumate, Chong Li, Chong Li, Chong.
Oh
Anyways,
my god, so good.
Okay, so we open up on Johnny Ferrero, and right off the
Mm-hmm.
bat, you're like, "This is going to be good," because this guy is still a character in 2023. one of those
Egomaniac.
guys who thinks he's way more famous than he is.
And that
And
he also thinks he like knows everything though too, right? Like
yeah,
they're like on the beach filming. He's like, hate the beach, can't do that. And then they're like at his house, and he's like, don't want anyone at my home. Like it almost seemed like the director was like kind of like putting those little instances in there to be like, fuck this guy, like along the
trolling
way,
him
which was
so
so
hard.
great.
Trolling him so hard. But so okay, so yeah, so he is the creator, quote unquote, of American Gladiators.
Mm-hmm.
Sole creator in his mind, sole creator. And what we'll come to find out is that essentially he had a bodyguard slash best friend named Apache Dan
Dan
in
Carr.
Erie, PA, right?
And that's where all this originated.
Yes, and this all originated in Erie, PA, where Apache Dan was Johnny Farrow's best friend and also protector, and would save him from multiple occasions from getting his ass beat when Ferrero was doing the whole Elvis thing and trying to steal other dudes' girlfriends and all this shit.
He was his muscle on the road, essentially. They kind of traveled with the impersonating, I think they were saying. And then what they hosted the first official like American Gladiator Olympics is what they had called it. And Dan had his main guy performing in that. And that was, what did they say? Was that like 8 or 10 years before American Gladiators ever aired?
Yeah, I think it was like 6 years. So, okay, so we'll go back a little bit for you. So, Apache Dan is this, I don't know, monster of a man, like a bear of a man, crazy mutton chops that connect to the handlebar. He's got like these long hair coming out,
Ray Jackson.
never worn sleeves in his life, literally Ray Jackson. And he's this iron worker in Erie, PA. He falls off like 100 feet, I think they said, from a job site, survives, breaks every bone in his back, then comes back and is the dude who, like, you don't mess with this guy. What they say in the doc, this guy will fuck you up. So
I think he's buried some bodies. He looks like a Hell's Angel guy who's like killed some people for sure.
Oh my god! If I had to put money on it, yes. And he said around, the iron work and all that stuff, there's so much testosterone going around with all those guys that on the weekend he basically hosted, like you said, a tournament, like an Olympics of these random events he created, to find out just like who was the most manly.
Which looked an awful lot like the games they would play on American Gladiators, just
very
cheaper
interesting.
And less bright.
Very interesting. Weird. Then he decides, Apache Dan decides, he's going to hold his first ever live event at one of the high schools in Erie, PA. And they're going to make like an official American Gladiator tournament. That's what it was literally called. And his right-hand man / best friend, this guy named Donnie, who was also just a mountain of a man, still is, by the way.
Monster.
He wanted him to be the first ever American Gladiator. So they host this tournament over the weekend at Erie, PA High School. They sell it out. There's like 4,000, 5,000 people there. And who happens to be there during that tournament? None other than Johnny Ferrero.
Well, they said that they brought him in. To be fair, Johnny was kind of like brought in, and Donnie was pretty pissed off about it. But then Apache Dan, like, he basically kind of emceed and hosted it, killed it, crushed it, was like so hyped. And what they had the concept, but then also, did you ever pick up on like who really wanted to do the scripted version? Was that more of a Ferraro thing, or?
I think Ferraro. So Johnny Ferraro was like, "Oh my god, American Gladiator! This would make a great movie."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "We need to make this a movie." So he said, "I'm packing my bags. I'm going to LA, and we're gonna try to make this a movie." Essentially, it was like the A-Team with a bunch of like, like average Joe guys who are in different work positions, and they're like the A-Team, and they got to save the day. So he wanted to make that movie. And he struggled in LA for I think he said like up to 5 years where he couldn't get this project made, and
6.
then 6 years, and then he says he sold his soul to the devil one night when he was about to quit, and then a phone call came in, and it was essentially a producer who said, "No, no, 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 no. We need to make this a TV show."
Yeah. Oh, also, fun note that I just realized, I can't remember the name of the shitty movie that he was watching where like that guy basically sold his soul to the devil. Like that was his 1-to-1 like moment of his Truman Show moment. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the dad in that movie was the dad from the show Blossom from back in the day with like Joey Lawrence. I just now
Oh
realized that.
Lord.
His little mullet. He still had a mullet and he was a little younger. But yeah, well, the other thing they had going for him though was that there was a writer's strike happening at that time. So they needed unscripted content, and they had the Stallones, the Van Dams, the Hogans, all of that. So people were just like loving buff people, and everybody loves an underdog story. So it
Yep.
just made sense, and from there things like really started to click. But unfortunately, somebody didn't come along. Somebody didn't get involved. Apache Dan.
So yeah, so I guess from what we've seen in the doc, Johnny Farrow was kind of just
Spoiler
leading a
alert. Spoiler.
yeah, he was leading Apache Dan on. He's like, dude, you're the creator. I'm the like I'm the money. Like I'll set this whole thing up. Don't worry about it. So poor Apache Dan is sitting at home, like waiting for updates, waiting for checks when this show starts to go live. The show is a massive hit instantly, like becomes a huge hit. And Apache Dan watches that first episode, and when it rolls to credits, it says created by Johnny Ferrera. And there's no mention of Apache Dan at all.
No Dan Carr to be found. And then added it like later in post down the road. How much was his first check for?
He got a check for the #1 hit show on TV for being a creator for $150. After the season had ended, that's what he got. And then Johnny Ferrero let him on and said, no, dude, the money's in season 2 and season 3. Such a lie. Whatever. Wait, now the show's a hit, right? So let's get into a few of the characters who are these American Gladiators, because they are straight up characters. I think one of the most famous is Malibu, right? Malibu is one of the most famous.
For sure. At this moment, we'll insert his very special little cameo and quote. We'll put that in right here. You can watch it. It's pretty fun. So good when he's doing his Malibu impersonation. Apparently, dude never even knew how to surf.
Yeah, was not a surfer. Literally just made this character, rolled with it, and it was a great character. Great character.
Oh yeah.
They had this guy Gemini, who was a former NFL player who tore his Achilles. They had
he was the
Nitro.
father figure.
Nitro, who was an athlete in his own right and probably the villain of the show.
Oh,
and then they had Thunder, who was this massive human being.
Beast, a monster.
Oh my god,
that guy was
Thunder
insane.
Was jacked.
He's kind of got it the worst of anybody though now.
I know.
Like so many brutal injuries, and imagine like carrying around that much weight on your frame unnaturally. Like he was 300 pounds or something, he said, when he fell and like fucked up his spine because they didn't have the proper equipment to blow up the mats, and so they used leaf blowers, and this dude takes a huge fall and just like ruptures like he said, like 3 discs in his back. But
7.
how the fuck does he have his sick property though now? Like, is his lady just loaded?
Hey, if more power to him.
Yeah, maybe he was putting a little bit of juice in that hog.
Hey, the Johnson's still working, baby. Working overtime. Oh, it's working. Overtime.
We can only hope.
So, and then there were some females who were honestly like jacked in their own right, also
Mm-hmm.
attractive,
One was cute. One
and
was cute. Electra, I
yeah,
think.
and Electra. So Ice, I think at one point was one or something, and there's a few of them, but
Oh yeah.
um, yeah. So every show was kind of this David versus Goliath, where they'd have female and male contestants, and they would
Mm-hmm.
going up against these guys and girls, and the whole thing was like hit, crash, and hits. We want big NFL style hits, throw to the grounds, like the bigger the better.
More
Season one
intense
is,
than the NFL, arguably.
I mean, no pads, nothing.
No.
And season one is a massive hit. Massive hit. They start selling lunch boxes, action figures, video games. I mean, world tour at one point. And
Mm-hmm.
these guys, like you said, were
Orlando like theater show, like
a
weird
lot.
installments and shit.
Think like medieval times, which was with American Gladiators and dinner. Man, I wish I would have been there.
The alien part, I was like, what the fuck? I just loved how Malibu thought it was stupid too. He was like, yeah, I actually played it one time. That was good.
And
He had
so
such a good, like, he was great.
he had such a good vibe to him. But so, yeah, and as
Mm-hmm.
we'll come to find out, dude, this locker room for the American Gladiators was filled with steroid needles, obviously.
As one of the, what was it? It was one of the producers or directors said his like first day there, he just like went into a room and it was just syringes.
Everywhere. I mean, let's be real. Everybody fucking. Gladiators are fucking. Contestants and gladiators are fucking. Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
boozing. It's a shit show back there backstage. As
They
you'd
didn't
imagine,
want room raiders. If anybody didn't want room raiders, it was them. You don't want to see that
God,
tour
that locker
bus.
room is probably a mess.
Oh, you could get
Uh,
pregnant just sitting on the bench.
and yeah, so like the show is not safe at all. The show is not safe. One bit, a contestant, they would put you in like a giant metal hamster like ball
Oh
basically,
my god.
and one contestant, a piece of metal broke off from the hamster ball and literally impaled him, and he had to get, what was it, 75 stitches on the inside and the outside.
Yeah, and maybe that's where all the money was going to. Like crazy insurance or like fucked up claims where like contestants actually got really hurt. And then the people on the show were just getting nickel and dimed, like making 25K a year to do all this. Of course they
Oh
had
my
some
god.
side money and I mean Malibu, he was a male stripper before he
Hey.
got on the show, so he might have been doing a little bit of private work.
Private eye.
He was a cop too. Yeah, he gets
Yeah, he was
the
a
private
cop.
eye.
Yeah. So yeah, so the show keeps getting more popular. It's number
Hmm.
one in the world, and this guy
Oh, all the
Apache Dan,
spin-offs?
that they had American Gladiator Japan, they had American Gladiator Germany, they had American Gladiator wherever, everywhere,
Russia, everywhere you can think
Russia.
of.
And poor Apache Dan is at home. His daughter is working the late night 1 a.m. shift at Taco Bell. And he's
Oh,
and he's like, you know what? I've had enough. Like, I'm making my way to Vegas and I'm gonna go fucking show up and say what up to Johnny Ferrero in person with the intention of whooping his ass.
oh, I don't even. He basically said he was going to kill him, like crush his neck because all my daughter is doing is dealing out diarrhea at midnight now. This is a fucking smear campaign on my name. I'm coming for you. I don't know because he said he literally was like, I'm gonna grab him and just like crush his neck, and then I'm gonna pull out a plastic gun when the cops show up, so they gun me down. It was these were kind of this was like kind of the dramatic like inner monologue of a man who's used a lot of steroids. That's like kind of what I was getting from it a little bit. Not to shit like on him because if you're listening to Badgie Dan, I love you, dude.
Don't come after me, please. Don't come after us. And
Mm-mm.
so he meets Johnny Ferrero, and he said that he thinks Johnny Ferrero may have had a sixth sense that he was in trouble because Apache Dan was ready to literally snap his neck.
Weasel
And
hairs were tingling.
like the snake oil kind of salesman, smooth talking guy he is, Ferrero is able to convince him to lead the live show in Orlando and the training program for future gladiators who are coming in. Um, and Apache Dan accepts the position. He accepts the position and started making a salary. And then, like you said, Shane, they kind of edited back in that he was a creator of American Gladiator in the credits from that point on. But I don't think contractually he was getting paid as a creator. He was just getting paid as a gladiator wrangler or whatever his position
No,
was.
he still wasn't on it. Because remember, they talk about like how like all of a sudden he gets like hold of the paperwork.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, they were just fucking me all along." It just
Oh yes, sorry, we skipped over that beat. Sorry. So Apache Dan and Donnie, his guy who he wanted to be the first American Gladiator, they get a contract sent to them from L.A. from Johnny Ferrero's attorney that stipulates they're the co-creators of the show, royalty payouts, all this stuff. They sign it, send it back to LA, and I think we know exactly what Johnny Ferrero did with that paperwork. I think he shoved it straight up where it doesn't want to go. But essentially, they never heard from him again until now when he went to go pay him a visit in person.
Donnie still didn't hear shit. He was like, I just still didn't know what was going on. But then, I don't know, man. That was the other thing, was like the weird infighting from all the people in like the little in Erie. Like his one brother had out like a presentation as if you were showing up to some like,
Yeah, it was
like
so
that
weird.
was
I'm like,
weird. Like,
how
is
much
this a
did Johnny
hotel?
Ferrero pay him to like be all chipper that day? Because Apache
Probably
Dan's
how he
other
bought the
brother,
rights. That's
yeah.
how he got to his brother's story.
So he bought Johnny Ferrero, this snake, buys the rights to Apache Dan's life and tells the directors of this 30 for 30 that they can't talk to Apache Dan. So throughout the whole first part one and then midway through part two, we're only talking to people who know of Apache Dan, his two brothers, and people around Erie, PA, who all will tell you that Apache Dan was the creator of American Gladiators.
It was also super weird that there were photos of Apache Dan with like Gemini and some of them who were like, "Oh, I
Yes,
don't
I did
remember
notice
him."
that.
And I was like, "What?" There was just the one. Anyways, going back to when they were in Erie, it was like the one brother clearly fucking hated Ferraro, and Donnie did too. But then the
Mm-hmm.
other brother, like he collected all the items and shit. He just seemed like a little fucking standout simp. Like he was kind of a little bit of a weaselly guy. He was super
Such a
positive and nice,
weasel.
but there was just something off where it was, I don't know. It's kind of sometimes when people are like too nice to where they don't like
Yeah,
draw a line in the sand and you're like, no, 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 you need to have your brother's back and
yeah.
like grow a fucking spine. But I
Oh,
digress, dude.
one of the gladiators we didn't talk about, one of the more popular ones was Saber.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The former blood.
S- Saber, a former Los Angeles Blood, who said it was not uncommon for him to carry a gun to church, which
He did say
I'm
that. He did say that.
all about my Jesus and my guns. No, I don't know how you were able
Oh,
to make
yeah.
that
My
connection,
Glock
but
and God?
he was like the take no shit guy and was out there trying to hurt the average Joes who would end up, being the contestants on the show. Um,
I think it was the storyline, at least what they really had on his, because it was more Nitro. Remember when they had the excerpt from his book and he was like, they had that like maniacal smile and all that shit, and he was like really out there trying to fuck people up. Um,
yeah,
it was the part where he said he like lost his brother, like his brother got shot like 36 times by the cops or whatever. So he's just on the show, juiced up, like
angry,
probably not processing any of his emotions, and then they fucking cast cops onto the show. So he's just like unloading with the baton and everything.
unloads.
And then his whole little speech afterwards too, where he was like, like, this is the dream for anybody out there who ever wanted to like whoop a cop's ass, like da da da. It was like, it was kind of great. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow that like resurfaces as a meme, or like
Oh yeah.
like nowadays, if that kind of went down, like they definitely should infuse some of that in there for sure. Like have a cop on or something, or maybe I don't know. Maybe that you would get in trouble for that now. Probably, I don't know.
So synonymous with Saber though is a contestant named Wesley Two Scoops.
Oh, Two
And
Scoops.
Two Scoop.
Oh my
So
god.
okay, guys, for the most part, obviously the contestants would just get their ass beat, right? Because
Oh yeah.
they stood no chance. But then this guy Wesley Two Scoops seemingly comes out of nowhere and
amazing
starts winning like back-to-back shows, and then wins a championship, an American Gladiator Championship, a very prestigious award. To the point where they basically invite him all the way up to compete in like the World Cup of American Gladiators, which was champions from all different countries.
Yeah.
And
well, he had to win the US tournament to then get to the international and go over there. But this guy was like, one of them referred to him and they were like, Two Scoops. Oh man, he's like light. Yeah. Like I loved that, which it's true. The dude was like, honestly, he still had so much fucking charm and charisma. Like when they had him on, he was legit.
He was super legit, and he started winning, and he was getting popular too. Like, usually everyone in the crowd is rooting for the Gladiators, but Two Scoops became so popular that he started having signs. People were rooting for him to beat the Gladiators, and still seems like he's doing well. He seems like he's in good spirits. And
Two Scoops of what? D's nuts. I would love if he had said that. He would do like Fortnite dances when he would win.
Literally, yeah. He was like super charismatic, and
his story is crazy though, that he like got those insane burns. You saw that part, right?
So guys, so Two Scoops, before he gets cast on the show, I think if I remember correctly, he's helping a lady try to start her car, and something happened when he connected his car to hers that her car just exploded, and he burnt over 70% of his body in like third degree burns or whatever it was.
And he just looks great though. Like, I'm like, the what recovery? Kind of holy shit.
Was this chick driving like a Mad Max car? Like, what kind of whip was this that it just exploded when you put on a jumper
like a guy
cable?
Just like hits the guitar and just like flames. Yeah.
I'm just picturing like it's literally just like a gas tank and like a seat, and like I don't know. Anyways,
fuck.
That's Poor the guy who ends up probably becoming the greatest contestant on American Gladiator history.
Father Yahweh probably saved him too, man. Father Yahweh. That was one of my favorite Saber moments.
So you have to explain Yahweh what save me, man. Saber now is like a very religious.
Oh yeah, he's like some sort of priest. I don't know. I can't. It's beyond me. I very, very small brain. I only know Christianity, Judaism, Catholicism. The Hindu, the this, the that, Buddhism. We'll stop there. I don't need to keep listing religions, but I don't know what fucking one his was, like, so just,
it's a weird one. Anyways, so we get to the point where we figure out, Johnny Ferrero, he's screwed over his partners, he screwed over his best friend, he's screwing over these gladiators, and it gets to the point where the show, after a 7-season run, which is unreal for a TV show to do 7 seasons, that's like phenomenal. The show gets canceled. Ratings went down. The show gets canceled. Everyone's caught off guard. The gladiators basically were like, we have to go get normal jobs again now after they were, uber famous.
Johnny I don't want to work in Marshalls.
That legit quote. Ferrero is like not sure what to do with his life. I felt like Apache Dan kind of had come to terms with like it is what it is at that point.
Dude, he had side shit going on. He was probably like a Mongol, a Hell's Angel. Like he kind of kept saying how he's like, yeah, I was pissed off and he hated Ferraro. Like he felt like he was betrayed and didn't talk for 18 years. And then, Ferraro finally came to him and like made this offering, and finally his eyes were smiling and he kind of like apologized and made it good. But no, Ferraro was like handling some shit. Or Jesus. Apache Dan was handling some shit, but Ferraro, he never got over it. Like he's still obsessed. Like he was like creaming his jeans when they finally gave him another reboot, which happened in the last writer strike. And
Unreal.
Spoiler alert, they're filming right now during this one.
That is the weirdest part, that this show, one, will not die. Neither will Johnny Ferrero. And every time there's a writer strike, this show gets brought back up. It's unreal. It's like the greatest IP/worst IP of all time.
Because the American spirit is a gladiator and it will not back down, Kyle. These colors don't run. They fight.
I never back down.
Shove their foot up an ass.
The reboot, they kind of had Hulk Hogan come be the host. It failed. It got canceled after one season. It was a little too gimmicky. People weren't about it. And Johnny Ferrero ended up...
It didn't have the badassery.
No, it was like a watered down version of it that no one liked.
People were literally being tackled into the water. Like you want to see people get slammed. Like there's just certain things. And also, yeah, the gimmicky, like there was like wolf people and da-da-da. It was like, you can be named wolf, but you don't have to like have spiky tooth and put like fake fucking lenses in your eyes.
Yeah,
like,
what the fuck is this fucking oh my god, why am I
Thriller music video, Van Helsing?
Yeah, like I was like, is this not Teen Wolf? Oh my god, what's the Bella and Vampire vs. Werewolf?
Twilight, baby.
Twilight. Jeez, why can't I not remember that? Anyway, sorry, butchered that.
You're a Potter guy. You're a pothead.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And so yeah, to sort of finish up on American Gladiator, I mean, I think behind the scenes we all kind of knew what was going on, right? I didn't know the extent of which they weren't getting taken care of monetarily wise. Like you said, Ferrero basically comes back to Apache Dan, asks him what he wants, assuming he wrote him a check, and they're best friends again, I guess, or after 40 years.
Good enough friends. Apache Dan is so chill. It kind of blows my mind because he was like such a mountain, like scary dude, they were saying. So that kind of blew my mind. And then again, something we love to showcase on this show is a nice pipe, a nice peace pipe. There's a lot of we're big fans of indigenous people. I don't know if you go back, we also had the Free Willy pipe, and we will be showcasing Apache Dan's as well. So keep a lookout for that. Apache Dan also really loved flames. Like his outfit,
oh my
god, like a flame hat was jacket.
The jacket was flames. The undershirt flamed. I'm sure his shoes had flames on them. He's just a fire guy. Just a fire guy.
He's a hothead. Dude, we also forgot to mention Mike O'Hearn.
Yeah. Oh, the Titan.
Mm-hmm.
The Titan was an alternate towards the end of the first run, and then got brought back to be the main Captain America for the reboot.
The second reboot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unreal. Yeah. I don't know if he'll have any part in the new one. I mean, he's still jacked as fuck and on all the well, actually Mike O'Hearn's natural, sorry.
And he's kind of been like, there's so many memes of that guy on social media right now. I didn't know he was on the show until I watched the doc, honestly.
Yeah, and he cried. He said he cried. It was a big moment for him when he got asked to get brought back.
He did have like a super emotional moment in the doc too.
I'm like, for no reason.
My favorite line though of the doc was Tower when he's like, everybody's like Hanson, and then he's just like, fuck him up on 3. He's just like,
so
oh my god.
So okay, where are they now, so to speak? And then we'll end our American Gladiator. Where are they now? Right?
Yeah. Totally,
Yeah.
totally.
So Apache Dan, Johnny Ferraro, they're gearing up. They are credited as the creators of now the third reboot that is coming out. I don't know when. Thunder, essentially crippled at this point because of injuries sustained from the show,
So
but on the
sad.
bright side, lives in like North Carolina on this great big ranch with horses
Insane.
and all types of animals. So little bright side there for him. Malibu, crazy story. His wife, who he had
Oh
two
my God.
daughters with,
So
ended up.
tragic.
She was
She
about
got
to sign with.
lipo.
Yeah, was getting lipo to make her WWE debut, and had complications and died from the surgery. He's now a motivational speaker slash stuntman.
He was like crushing that can when he was doing it, and then afterwards he was like, sometimes like I don't know. That, which is another thing we'll get to shortly. That's our third segment. But Saber is, oh well, he married that Russian chick, or I don't know if she was. He got married in Puerto Vallarta, but I don't know where he got married to a woman in Puerto Vallarta. Let's just say
Yeah,
that she looked
fair enough.
younger. She was attractive. Good for him. He kind of has like a sweet Lorenzo Lamas thing going on right now, where it's like semi short on the front, but like a sick pony in the back.
That dude is
That
ready to
might be
ride a
my.
motorcycle.
He crushed it. He was in so much shit. Like he was doing really well until
Yeah,
the tragedy. Saber, like we said, he's found the Lord. Gemini, like, seems to be
family
back with his
man.
family
Yeah,
after fucking Ferraro brainwashed his ass and just
yeah,
like
brainwash him.
was like, "You're not da da da, you're Gemini," and he was like,
Yeah,
and I realized, and it's like, no, dude, you like, it was fucked up, his
it's like for
situation.
$500, dude, you're doing this too. It's just like, what are you doing?
Oh my God. He said he
Oh
spent 8
god.
hours just doing autographs one time. Like, ah, poor guy. Dude, Hogan, he hosted the second one, but honestly, this is kind of where I want to segue into our next one. Hogan
Yeah,
also synonymous with like muscles action. He had his own kind of series of films that he did. He had Thunder in Paradise. I mean, dude was crushing it outside of the ring, but most
yeah.
well known as just like a famous wrestler. Like he's maybe the most famous. And I don't know if you knew this, but like just kind of speaking on how Gemini was essentially like giving up his life for $500. Hogan was always like death gripping to
Hmm.
his stardom. It was the same thing. It was like as soon as somebody it shifts to the next person, like you don't know where you're going to be at. You don't know what's going to happen. He went from WWF's, WWE to WCW, and that
Mm-hmm.
was, him and Vince were boys. Um, so much so that at one point in the 80s, Jesse the Body Ventura was talking to all the wrestlers and he was trying to plan a union, and fucking Hogan snitched.
Fucking snitch, huh? He
Dude,
snitched to Vince.
yeah, he wanted to stay like his golden boy because Jesse was like kind
Wow.
of blowing up during that time too.
Okay, I see that. Yeah.
So,
And
and go ahead.
no, no, no. So you're gonna say it's kind of how Johnny Ferrero was
Mm-hmm.
kind of owning these gladiators and not allowing them to do other shit, right?
Exactly. I mean, most recently, um, Vince was even trying to claim that the WWE owned the licensing for the wrestlers' real names, not
Oh my
just like the
god,
IP. And they're like independent contractors. They don't even
that's
have them
crazy.
signed to like legit, like what John Oliver criticized him, because if they were employed and signed on as employees, well then they could get like health insurance, they
Yeah,
could
yeah, yeah, yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
have leave, pension. So it's just, dude, it's fucked up.
Man, It's a tough dude. It was cutthroat business, but I think both those guys are very. I mean, we know Vince is very cutthroat, right?
Oh my God. The more I was looking into things, there's so many like allegations and just like really, really bad stuff kind of surrounding this dude. It almost like at a point I'm like, damn, I supported it. Like there was so much sexual misconduct, like in like he would go to like rub and tugs and do fucked up shit and like
Mm-hmm.
just really weird things. I think I was telling you about how like he nearly like had Dusty Rhodes Goldust get breast implants.
What?
Mm-hmm. I was actually at WrestleMania 12 when him and Roddy Piper were like doing the Backstreet Brawl, and I was just like a little kid in junior high. I got Diesel gloves when I was there because Diesel, Kevin Nash, badass. But
Yeah.
dude, and then when Roddy like ripped his clothes off and he had lingerie, they just, oh my God, I always say it's like the most athletic soap opera. But beyond the crazy Vince stories and steroid abuse scandals and most recently kind of being like forced out, and I think they're going through and there's some dispute as to like payoffs and other
Mm.
things. It was so fun seeing the Shawn Michaels and Stone Colds and the Rocks and even Hogan back in the day, and you do a mean Macho Man and that you know.
Well, I heard Jake the Snake tell his Macho Man story. I feel like all these wrestlers, big and small, all have a Macho Man story. You know, if you were around that time,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys can listen to it on Rogan. But Jake the Snake, very famous for carrying a snake out to, his matches, which he would unleash on
Right.
people at some point. And apparently, Macho Man was not convinced that the snake had been devenomized.
Right. Right.
So he pulls Jake the Snake backstage, a few hours before their match, and basically goes up to Jake the Snake and says, I'm gonna need to see you. No, wait, I gotta start that over. He goes, I gotta get my
It
Macho
sounds
Man. He
good.
goes,
It sounds nice.
so he pulls over Jake the Snake and he goes,
Yep.
I'm gonna need to see the snake bite you. And Jake the Snake's like, what do you mean you need to see the snake bite? He's like, I don't believe that it's been devenomized. Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
he's
Right.
like,
Right.
okay. So reluctantly, Jake the Snake has the snake bite him. And he's like, you happy? He goes, you're not going nowhere, Jake the Snake. I want to make sure you don't take no antidotes or nothing. Yeah. Uh-huh. So he basically, Jake the Snake, had to wait there for like 30 minutes until Macho Man gave him the okay of like, all right, I believe you now. And
Because he died.
during
Because
the
he died.
yeah, because and then during the match, right before the match, he says he took the snake out, whacked it like 3 times in the head to get it really pissed off. So then when he released it on Macho Man, you see it in that match, it clamps onto him, and Macho Man, he's not selling this. He's in like pain, struggling,
Right.
and he can't get the snake off of him because it's so clamped in because he's so pissed. And then apparently he never did a match again with him or something like that. Macho Man didn't want to. And then at some point, I think the snake went missing, like in the locker room or something. So,
Of course.
man, just so many. There's so many of those wrestling stories and characters who weren't as big as those guys, but still have some wild stories.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was like a rough ride for a lot of them. I think maybe this is a perfect time to talk about Mr. Perfect, Kurt
Oh,
Hennig.
yes, buddy,
Dude,
go ahead.
did you know? Did you know that his former tag team partner in the Macho Man did a rap song about him?
No, no.
Dude, oh my God, it's called Perfect Friend.
Oh
Perfect
my God,
Friend.
I'm gonna have to YouTube that.
Oh yeah,
Perfect.
I'll definitely throw it on for a second here. It'll just kind of roll in the background while we're cruising along. But I am what I am, and I say I'm absolutely perfect. Just like bleach blonde, sweet fucking mullet. This dude, pretty buff, arrogant, gum chewing, Aryan perfection. He would be the poster child. Maybe hair a little too long, but apparently, like everyone loved him, even though he was the this kind of like egomaniac or whatever in the ring. And he originally got his name from Vince. Vince was like, what, like, just like, hey, like, what are you good at? Da da da. They're trying to come up with names, and it was like he wanted to do Hurricane Henning and all these other things. And then he was like, well, I'm a scratch golfer. I'm amazing at magic, this, that. And then like literally Vince was just like, you're Mr. Perfect. So apparently that's how he got his name. And he was like a legendary prankster.
Okay, was
like,
he?
Oh, dude. Like, he was basically like the Cosby of the WWF. Like, you had to watch your drink around this dude. Like, he once put, because back in the day, like, if you would put eye drops in people's water, they would like basically just shit themselves.
Oh, no.
And so they were getting ready to go on a flight, and this was when Yokozuna was like crushing it. And so he put a bunch of that into his drink, and on the flight, Yokozuna can't fit inside the bathroom. So he like he goes to the back of the plane, somehow gets down the aisle. Like, you're probably just going sideways down it, kind of just knocking everybody. No one can sleep on the aisles when Yoko's on the plane.
No.
And he gets back there, and they just lay out newspaper, and then he just takes a shit all over the fucking newspaper. For whatever reason, he had like a thing with shit, kind of like.
Oh my god!
Like,
dude, wait, imagine how bad that plane must have smelled. You're letting a 1,000-pound man just shit in the open, like. Oh, it's bad enough when someone takes a shit in the bathroom on a plane, but at least that's contained. God. Imagine a dude that big taking a gnarly eye drop shit on a newspaper in the back of an open plane. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a large one too. All that weight, like, holy.
And
fuck, I didn't even think about that.
You're the poor guy who's sitting in row 34D, just inches away from it. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm complaining my fucking ass off. Like, I'm on the phone as soon as I get off that plane. I'm going to whatever your telephone booth or little situation is there, and I'm getting as many miles as I can. Like, a man literally shat behind me, and they're like, "Sir, you were in the last row." No. He shat where the food is too.
Yeah,
like, that's the serving station.
I don't even think a newspaper would be big enough for that dude's shit. They probably took that curtain that blocks off first class. They probably had to take that down and just have him shit on the curtain. Like,
if they were really smart, it would have been like a pan or like a pitcher. That way they could at least dump it out. Goodness. It doesn't have to just like go in the trash can and just like ruin everyone's day.
That's so gnarly. That's so gnarly.
He did the same thing at a battle royale with like a ton of people in the ring. He started just like dosing water bottles. So then mid fight, all of a sudden somebody's just like, who shit their pants? I think there's a video out there where you can kind of see him like snickering in the corner, like as it's like going down.
God, dude, there was no rules back then.
At a Christmas party, Gene Okerlund, it was like Animal from the Road Warriors. It was his Christmas party. Apparently, his kid had like one of those little like trainer kind of like bathroom sets.
Oh yeah, the potty little sets, yeah.
Dude, and Henning took a dump in it.
I don't know why, but people just taking shits and things is just always funny. I don't know why, but it's just funny, dude.
I'm a sucker for poop humor, like such a sucker. He did other, random shit. Like, he shaved off Xbox eyebrow one time, and it was like right before they were gonna do his like merchandising shots and stuff. And and then the real like infamous one, it was like apparently him and Scott Hall were just like hammered on a flight, and a lot of people refer to it as like the plane ride from hell.
Okay.
And so him and Scott were doing like the whipped cream trick and like waking people up, and like they'd hit, it into their face, and, they're just like taking the piss out of everybody. And then he starts challenging Lesnar to a fight. And then they really get into it. And somebody in the organization was like, yo, you got to put him in his place or else like this isn't going to stop. Like he won't continue like ascending. Like you got to put him in his place. So they really start getting into it. Dude, somehow they blow into the door and open it on the plane. Yeah. And after that, he gets kicked out. And everything kind of goes downhill from there, and he ends up passing away shortly after. And dude, inducted into the Hall of Fame, and guess who gave his speech? Fucking Wade Boggs.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I did not know that.
Right?
That's pretty legendary.
He was probably partying Wade on that plane too. That's probably why. Doesn't he have like the legendary, like he drank 30 beers on a flight or something one time, the Wade Boggs thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They have that Sunny.
Dude, there's so many of these guys who just had like crazy stories, and then
you have some.
I have a few. I have a few connections to Big Papa Pump and Rick Steiner via my dad, who, funny enough, was college roommates with them back in the early 80s at Michigan. And yeah, he's got some good stories with those. Because first and foremost, those guys were unreal wrestlers, like all Americans at Michigan.
Yeah,
like badass dudes. And Rick. So funny enough, Rick was actually more of the out and about, very loud. Where Scott was kind of more of a quiet guy in college, and then once they got into pro, it was kind of the other way around almost. But
yeah.
I think my dad said everyone knew on campus you don't mess with Rick Steiner because Rick he'd beat your ass. He would beat your ass. And my dad tells one funny story where he accidentally bumped into a frat guy at a bar when it was like packed. The bar's packed with like sardines. And he's getting 2 beers at the bar. When he spins around, he accidentally bumps into this frat guy, thinks nothing of it. Oh, my bad, sorry, whatever. 30 minutes later, my dad's taking a piss at the urinal, and he just hears from behind him that frat guy go, yeah, that's the jerk off. Like, that's him. And he turns around, and there's like 10 frat dudes waiting for him in the bathroom to beat him up, and there's no one else in there. So this is honestly where my dad's wit comes into play and smart, because he knew, okay, I can't take 10 dudes in a bathroom.
Right.
So he goes to the frat guys. He goes, you guys want to fight? And they're like, yeah, let's fight. I forgot to mention, my dad played football at University of Michigan early 80s. So he's on the football team. Steiner brothers are his roommates. They're the wrestling team, obviously. So he goes, you guys want to fight? And the frat bros are like, yeah, we're going to kick your ass. And he's like, okay, cool. Let's, but we'll do it outside because let's not make a mess here. And the frat dudes are like, yeah, sure, outside. Let's go. So he's like, all right, follow me. So these frat bros let him out of the bathroom, and they start following him. Now, to get outside, my dad had to walk from one end of the bar to the other. So what does he do? As he's walking through the bar, he sees Scott, he sees Rick, he sees his football team members, he sees, some other wrestlers he's friends with, and they're all like, Chevy, where are you going? And he's like, I'm going outside because these frat dudes want to kick my ass. And then obviously all these guys are like itching to fight, because if you know any wrestlers, they're itching to fight. And they go, oh, we'll come with you, Chevy. So by the time they actually get to the front door of the bar, he's got the Steiners behind him. He's got some big ass football dudes behind him. He turned around and he said the initial frat dude jaw was like to the floor, was so scared, was like, can we buy you guys all drinks? Because they don't fuck with the Stein. Like when he saw Rick, he said the frat dude was like, I don't want any part of this, because it would have been a bad night for them.
Oh yeah, I think what's the other one you told me? There was like some first round pick who he was like fucking with, like he basically held him in one of those rotating doors, and like then when he found out, the guy was like, oh, can I buy you a drink? And it's just crazy.
Some dude, I think he went Raiders. I forgot what my dad said. Big dude, 6'8", 300-pound lineman, first round Raiders. he's walking into a bar, and it was a revolving door thing, and he was
Freaking
kind of
revolving door bar.
savage, dude.
Very, very
Welcome
rare.
to the 80s, baby. And
sexy.
This guy kind of thought he was like the big man on campus. I mean, he
Oh,
was
for
a big
sure.
dude, like the macho man, whatever. And apparently
Got to get paid.
Rick did not like this. So Rick literally stopped the revolving door, and only thing between them was like a glass panel, which either of them could have easily gone through, like with enough testosterone going through them. And
Right.
the football dude didn't know who Rick was, so he's like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, I'm about to whoop his ass. And a few of the football boys from the team had to be like, bro, that's Rick Steiner. Like, do not mess with him. And then they said, like, the guy was like, oh shit, that's Rick Steiner. And they were like, yeah. And then he came through the revolving door and was like, hey dude, can I buy you a drink at the bar? Like, can I buy you a beer? Because people just knew not to fuck with Rick, man. Not to fuck with Rick.
No, it sounds like it. I mean, I think we've all kind of known the wrestlers who were like that throughout time, so it makes sense. Speaking of all these like bar fights, though, and the wrestlers who they had their time in the sun, but they didn't have those like similar career trajectories of some of the superstars, like Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog. That dude. Oh my god, like his haircut's so hilarious. Do you remember when he had like the Jamaican style, like braided,
dude,
like
unreal
like he just got back from vacation?
Unreal. Like, okay, dude, would you just go to the Bahamas and come back? Like, unreal. Jacked.
How much
also.
sauce are you so on?
Jacked. Oh, jeez, man.
So much juice though. Like it's like kind of well documented, honestly. But yeah, I saw this story essentially, and it was talking about how just in like the world of the bar fights and everything, like apparently him, Bret Hart, and this like Hall of Famer who at the time was like in his 80s, but they were like hanging out with him. They were on their way back from a bar pretty sauced, and some other dudes who they like assumed were hammered or something. It was just like a car full of dudes comes flying and almost hits them. And so at the next light, like they kind of yell stuff over, and one of the guys gets out of the car, and then the British Bulldog comes out and like power slams this dude. And that was like kind of his move. I remember that was like almost his finisher. Like slams this dude into the asphalt at the intersection.
Oh, jeez.
Bret Hart, everybody starts running out. Bret's like slams the dude's like, it's like as if it's a turnbuckle. He's just like and slams his head into the car. And when they peel off, he fucking runs a dude's leg over.
Jeez, he literally committed like murder.
At least attempted manslaughter, or I don't know. It's like and if it's fucked up. But yeah, dude. Also, he has a Jake the Snake story too. Apparently, him and Kid Dynamite were like fucking with Jake Snake. They were throwing all these. I think he talks to Roddy Piper about it on Roddy Piper's podcast. But they didn't even smoke cigarettes, and they were just like lighting them and throwing them into his snake bag. But so they're pissing the snake off, and he finds them doing it, and just like, he's like, what the fuck are you guys doing, kind of thing. Like, they ended up going out and fighting before he had to go out. So they had a dog. I think the dog's name was like Matilda or some shit like that. And he ended up feeding it a bunch of the stadium chili dogs, and then like locking it in their room while they were out at the fight. And the dog just like shit everywhere. Like,
okay, this is a running theme I'm seeing in backstage WWE. A lot of shit stories happening.
Oh my god, somebody else had one. I'm kind of spacing on it right now, but one of the other stories that I like kind of thought was pretty hilarious was Buff Bagwell. Yeah. Buff Bagwell, the NWO guy. Like, do you remember when he would like wear the top hats and like?
Oh yeah.
Had like a pre Val Venus-y vibe, but apparently that translated outside of the ring. He was a gigolo. Like, and I saw he was like on some site called Cowboys for Angels.
Oh no.
A premium gigolo service, and And then he was also on Showtime's Gigolo, season 5.
Goodness. Oh my goodness.
I never watched, but I'm like kind of curious to go back. But
he rolled with Scotty Steiner at one point. He was his guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He rolled with Scotty Steiner. He was like his right-hand man.
Interesting. Oh, dude. Another poop person.
Oh no.
X-Pac,
Who?
the 1-2-3 kid. He
No, what happened?
Apparently he's well known for using like other people's bathrooms and just like leaving dumps in there. He even took a shit in like Sable's bag one time.
Oh,
and
no.
then he planted like fake poop in Sonny's lunch once, and
Okay, I love that.
and in Mark Henry's sandwich.
Oh no. No.
He put a big chocolate in the big chocolate sandwich.
The strongest man on earth, he would literally get snapped in half.
Oh,
that
bro,
takes
he
balls,
did it.
dude. That takes balls to do. Holy shit.
He might have been messed out.
I remember when him and China's sex tape leaked, and like,
oh my god,
I don't know why, dude. I saw a brief clip of it, and it was like enough. I did not have to see it. That was disgusting. Oh god. R.I.P.
Apparently,
China.
Sonny did some adult work. Apparently. Yeah,
dude. Oh man. I mean, don't watch that. Shane, don't watch that. Guys, that is not a pleasant. And I only saw a snippet, and it was enough to scar me that much.
China has multiple.
Don't watch any of them. We're good. R.I.P. China. Let her be. Oh Lord, let her be. R.I.P. China.
Does Jake the Snake whip out his snake in any of those? Because like apparently that was something he would do. Like
just whip out his dong.
Oh yeah.
He Louis C.K'd it.
Oh my god, that's the other thing. Dude. So I figured since we were kind of doing all this, like I saw the I watched the Ric Flair doc too, and apparently Sting, you remember Sting?
Yeah, of course.
So he's like, dude, Ric Flair like made me, like the way that like Ric Flair would sell as a heel.
Oh, like put him on. Yeah, he put him on.
Oh yeah, and he was like, he taught me so much and da and this and that, but like he also told this story about when they were on the plane one time, and all of a sudden Rick comes out of the bathroom, and he's only got his robe and like his loafers and socks on.
Okay.
And then he just flashes everybody, and he's fully hard.
No. Rick was?
Rick was fully hard, and he said he had never there's nobody in like the history of any like WWF or WCW whose dong he's seen more than Ric Flair's.
That's unreal. I mean, dude, I mean, we know what Rick looks like. He is tanned. He is leathered. I'm assuming his dong looks very similar to that.
Yeah. Does the carpet match the drapes?
So I actually remember I met Rick, last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So I went to the Tampa Bay Bucks Eagles playoff game 2 years ago, 2021. My brother invited me. We went to a tailgate in Tampa, and who shows up but the nature boy himself, Ric Flair. And Jesus. I have to find that video, but he was drinking, he was having fun, talking with everyone, and at the end, he cut a promo for the Tampa Bay Bucks in the backyard with me all in it. I'll put up the video because I have it, and it was surreal to see the man himself do a promo in real life. Like, it was great.
Tailgate in Tampa, Florida. Look at it all that we can look. Drinking everything in sight. 813, baby. And getting ready for the Buccaneers to kick the Eagles' ass. Is there a problem with that?
That's amazing.
great. I mean, that guy's got stories for days.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm kind of surprised he was drinking because they also talked about how he had been having like at one point he met with a physician and like he's like pretty healthy, all things aside. Dude was drinking 15 drinks, like 10 beers and 5 shots or cocktails a day for a decade.
Is that not good?
I thought that was the bottom of the pyramid. I thought that's...
Yeah, wait, what?
Yeah, dude, if you're trying to preserve yourself.
He, funny enough, I think a lot of people don't know, one of the crazier things he did was he went to North Korea, Ric Flair, to wrestle. And on that trip, this is a legendary cast. It's Ric Flair, Big Papa Pump, Muhammad Ali, okay, and Antonio Inoki. And they go to North Korea, and apparently as soon as they got there, they took their passports. So they actually all had to be on like their best behavior because, they might not have been able to leave if there was any nonsense. But I just thought it was so crazy that they put on a show in North Korea and Muhammad Ali was there and like Ric Flair was there. And, I mean, just unreal, like, to think about that. Imagine.
Wow. Damn, they were there before Rodman.
Oh, yeah, way before Denny Rod was there.
Way.
But I'm just like, yeah, man.
I think Rick was like he was more of a regional guy before he like became official. Was that maybe during that time?
I think this was around when 90, they went? I think it was like 95-ish. Yeah. I think it was mid-90s when they went.
Man, there are no borders that Ric Flair cannot enter, no. Especially if it's a woman. As he would famously be like, what he would be like, I'm with 4 women at a time. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God, he's just like, he's insane.
Shout out to Jay Lethal also, who does a great impression of Ric Flair. Hogan, you're telling me. I can't do it, but he does a great impression of it.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man, Kyle.
Yeah. Oh my God, unreal, dude, unreal. Yeah. I loved. I mean, he's one of my favorites. He literally is one of my favorites.
He's a legend. It's funny because a lot of it during that time, it was kind of like you were a Hogan or you were a Flair guy. Like he was the ultimate nemesis, and then they just started bringing him back less and less. But it's just so amazing that they rolled him over into the business. I mean, the guy, that was his life. That was literally his life. So very, very cool story around Ric Flair. I think this is kind of maybe the last one, just because I feel like it's like kind of relevant as to right now. It's like we're living in this very, very social world of Instagrams and TikToks and stuff like that. But
hit me with it.
Matt Hardy of the Hardy Boys.
Okay.
He kind of had his own situation. I mean, dude, those guys, they would pull off like the craziest stunts. Like front flips, back flips off of like cages on it. Like they were nuts. And obviously a lot of injuries. And so Matt got a lot of DUIs. Matt got hurt and was suspended, recovering. He gained a lot of weight at one point, and it sucked because he was like having a lot of like mental issues, like depression and shit.
Okay.
And fans were like calling him like Fat Hardy and Matt Lardy. But anyways, like he got
that's
out
great.
And he went to rehab and he's cleaned up. But dude, the main thing that's happening right now is his wife. His wife is like a former Playboy centerfold, and nice. Apparently she's like super goth. Like she's been goth like since she was a little kid, and so they've started a social media thing where she kind of like voices over their daughter as this little tiny goth baby, and like this thing is blowing up. Like literally a couple nights ago, my wife was like, hey, I just sent you this thing, like check it out. I look,
Yeah.
and then I was like, wait, what? Like it
What
was
the
like,
heck?
okay, this is small. Like I don't know if maybe
Yeah.
because we share a modem or Wi-Fi that it like funneled some microcosm of like this world over to you, but there's been like a little bit of pushback from like this like loose women panel or whatever, calling it like
Okay.
satanic and shit, but some people are cool with it. And then there's even this like UK television show that's kind of about like gothic.
Goth babies.
Yeah, so I just thought
I,
like that was kind of random and cool.
I can't lie, dude. I don't have any babies. I've seen a
Mm-hmm.
lot of babies. The one
Oh
thing I
yeah.
have to say though is some people have really cute babies and some people have very ugly babies. And
Yeah.
I'm one of those people, like, if you have an ugly baby, especially if I'm like there, I can't tell you have a cute baby if you don't. And
Right.
I think I've hurt a few people's feelings, but some of these babies are just ugly as fuck. I don't know. I
Oh
don't know
my
what to
god.
tell
What do
you.
you say?
I I can't lie. I can't lie. And like man, it's a tough.
You're just like,
So
yeah, it's a baby. And then they're like, what do
hey,
you mean it's a baby? Yeah, it's a baby, but it's cute, right? And you're like, define cute.
I just Homer Simpson gift my way out of it, like going into the bush.
Oh my god. Yeah, just snap
But
your
hey, man,
fingers and vanish.
goth baby. If that's what they're up to, that's what they're good for them. We had the
Oh,
power.
dude, let's just kick it off. These Power Christ boys.
Please
If
tell the people
you
about them.
it's a buff brigade of biblical badassery, okay? These guys, obviously, it's the era, it's what we're talking about. They're fucking juicing up too. There's probably syringes like in the fucking confessional, like
Yeah.
in the bathrooms in the back. But apparently the story goes is John Jacobs. He was a
Okay.
Christian prison minister, and he decided that he was gonna like that's what he was doing. He was doing prison ministry, and there was like no one showing up to his shows. But the dude was a monster, and
Yeah.
so anyways, like one of the guards felt bad for him, and so the guard teaches him how to break handcuffs. And on the next show that he does, he kind of uses it as this feat of strength. He's like, if
Yeah.
God can give me the strength to break the chains of the devil, like you can find salvation too. And I don't want to, I don't want to like make a blanket statement and just kind of speak for all inmates, but I feel like usually you find yourself down this path if there isn't really a great background. And so these guys, they were like buying into it. And next thing you know, he's just like, he's out of jail and he really wants to make this into a business.
Mm-hmm. I mean, listen, I think it's a great skill to know how to break handcuffs. If you're a person who's in jail, that would come in handy. I feel like.
That's very interesting. That dude's like, here, I'll show you how to escape the handcuffs and like fuck us up.
I love how it kind of has a little bit of that like showmanship to it, where you got to really channel the strength from above and hope that it's inside of you to break these chains, and then you do it and everyone's like, holy fuck, this guy, he's the real deal. He's
this
a real
guy's
deal
insane.
So he recruited a bunch of these like post jail people, right, or something, like big ass dudes, and they started like touring, right? Isn't that the story or something about something like that?
Yeah, I mean, basically this was kind of like there was an aspect of it that like felt very like rehabilitation-y. And so he starts recruiting them. One of them is like a former like Hell's Angel, like white supremacist who had been in San Quentin for like 15 years. He's like,
oh, great.
I found Jesus in prison. And then John Jacobs, the like leader guy, he basically paid to get like all of his Nazi tattoos removed. And you have to see pictures of these guys. They're so good. Like all of them essentially have like a Mel Gibson haircut. from, you know, the one where it's like he's like smoking a cigarette on the talk show and they say he looks like a mom, like watching their kid open presents on Christmas. Like, dude, every guy's got that, like a sick mullet, and they're ridiculous. But
and
yeah,
they do like the phone book rips and like all that stuff, right?
Oh yeah, they're ripping phone books, but the funny thing is like they would if they couldn't get it and they needed to cut a little bit more to like build it up, they'd be like, Jesus needs to cut into your life and make the shift, and somehow he has to come between you and the change. And so like mid show, it would be like kind of pathetic that would have to happen, like unless you were just really buying into it.
They didn't score it enough, you know, like it needed to be a bit more ripped for them.
They would, dude, like, they would. Go.
I'm not ripping through this telephone book. I'm ripping through the evil that's inside of me. I need the strength. And then they can't do it.
They were charging up.
Yeah. I love it.
They were charging up on the spirit.
But this kind of became like a very lucrative business, right?
Oh my God, dude. They were crushing it because they got on television. So they were on TV. They were going into schools, like talking with kids, kind of like semi like dare programmy. Then they were traveling the world. And like they weren't just like doing books, like they would like bend pans, smash through concrete, like with their fucking heads, blow through ice walls and like burning timber. Like they were in South Africa, New Zealand, Russia, Israel, like all these spots, and every like rural like Bible Belt town and stuff like that too. And they would ask for donations. They'd be like, please give us enough to send us to the next town with this message.
Hey, we need some money to buy some more bricks that we can break, a la Frank Duke's Kumite style. Like, give me some more. That's crazy, dude.
Just asking kids at the school to bring in like their yellow pages and shit, just like ripping up all of the like no one could get in touch with anyone.
And I'm imagining also they probably got injured doing some of this shit, right?
Oh, dude. I think I saw something like, and this is probably lowballing it, but like over the years, at least when it was Power Team, because they're like at one point, we'll get there, but like as Power Team, like it was like something like 20 broken arms and like several fully reconstructed knees, and just dudes, just, I mean, when you're carrying that much weight and you're that sauced up, injuries are going to happen. Like dudes just run in the NFL and it's like, oh, quad tear, this, that. Like it's just, I don't know. It's like pretty insane. But it kind of all came crashing down because of this John Jacobs guy. They just like nobody could really like trust him anymore. It was this situation where there was like infidelities and all sorts of things like around him, so that they started factioning off into all these different groups. And yeah, man, I think they've got like Power Team 2.0, then there's the Impact Team now. There's a couple of them, but
honestly, I would be down to go to a show, not for any of the religious aspects. I just want to see I want to see these failed stunts. Like, I want to see a dude just try to put his head through some ice blocks.
Oh my God.
That sounds like fun.
Just bounce off of it. Oh, I would like, honestly, I would audibly gasp if I saw that. Just like, like this guy might be dead. I went further onto this one, and I like went into the Reddit comments for it. Oh my God. Some of them are good. So this one dude, I should have gotten their names, but it's like the ones that came to my church couldn't tear the phone book in half. They prayed and then brought out a knife to start the tear. And like everyone was okay with it. And everyone was just like, praise Jesus. Like they weren't even phased at all. And I guess they'll sign them afterwards too. So some people in the Reddit comments were like, I still have my signed Bible.
Oh my God, those things are probably so valuable.
Oh, this other guy blames them for his family getting sucked into religion. They showed up in my middle school. My sister and I thought the show was just for the school, so our parents took us to see another performance at a nearby church. They were hooked on the whole Jesus thing for several years after that. My sister and I were like, no, we don't want Jesus. We just want to see these strong dudes break stuff.
That's me. That's me. She's literally me. Or break themselves. I'm down for that part too.
Oh, the other one that they said was like the worst one that like no one wanted to do was you know those like kind of those plastic you would like put it inside like a blanket or you know a stuffed animal like maybe when you were a little kid and you would warm it up, right? It was like that like kind of plastic warming jug. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Kind of, yeah.
Like it's like a square shape and it has like a nozzle and then you would like twist the cap on after you put the hot water into it.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Okay.
Dude, one of the feats of strength was they would have them blow this thing up until it would explode.
Yeah.
Like it was so hard on their lungs. And then the other thing was that like once it happened, once it blew up, a lot of the time they would like get like whipped in the face or like fucked up because of it.
All in the name of Jesus.
Dude, insane.
Yeah.
Like getting maimed by that shit. There was a lot of stuff though where they were just getting fucked up. Oh God, what was another? Okay, this one. My high school sweetheart. Her dad was a part of this. Meeting him for the first time was intimidating. He was massive and towered over me. But because of this, I had to look up to him and he had the hugest booger in his nose.
That's great.
So the first time he fucking met him, this is this big ass buff dude who's like doing all these Jesus feats and stuff, and he's just got a huge booger in his nose. And I guess he would just tell him about it like all the time. After that, he's like, he was the sweetest guy, much better than my dad. And he showed him how to rip the book.
Oh, of course, yeah, of course. I mean, that's his talent. Come on now.
They could roll frying pans up, dude.
Okay.
Like a taquito.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. I gotta see it. I gotta see this in person. I've seen some clips, but I need to see this in person. Okay.
Let's go.
When I first came to move to LA, I went to a place called Beecher's Madhouse. They had a lady there with some of the biggest boobs I've ever seen who would crush cans with them. Like she would literally take her boob and use it as like a hammer. They, I wonder if they incorporated that into the power team. She should have been a part of the power team.
Oh my God. I guess they could put like a tassel on there, right? And then it's like you don't really see it.
Hey, for religion, baby. For religion.
Oh, fuck, dude. A guy I just realized in these comments, sorry, last one. I'll fucking end it with this last one. But a guy goes, holy shit. They baptized me. They still exist? They also baptized a gay couple who came to that event. They like broke up and decided not to be gay anymore.
The performance was just so manly, dude. It turned them not gay no more. Oh Lord.
Oh my God. And like that's kind of troubling though, right?
That's very troubling.
You're like,
the power team.
I think that's just who you are, no matter how powerful, no matter how many Bibles or chunks of ice
ice you go through and pans you roll up and fruit roll up whatever. Lastly, we saw The Flash yesterday.
Yeah,
what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. It was fun. Again, I'm gonna say popcorn cinema. It was a good time. A lot of people that very, very, very mixed reviews on this, but
yeah,
Mikey Keats. That's all I needed. Mikey Keats, I'm there, and I'm not going to mention any of the other cameos, but if you've been waiting for DC to do something kind of sexy, this is it.
Yep, this is it. Dude, I had so much fun in it. Ezra Miller, I think he is batshit crazy. The kidnapping charges, grooming charge. The guy's a psycho, but the dude's good in the movie. Like, the dude's good in the movie. The Flash is fun, and Michael Keaton was awesome to see him as Batman. That was so good. And
the girl Superman was great.
Yeah, Sasha Kaye or
Supergirl.
I don't know how you say her last name, but she's great.
Supergirl.
And yeah, the ending, the last like 20 minutes is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I would say go see it. If this is your cup of tea, I'd say go see it.
Yeah, why not? I mean, there's a lot to see and a lot to look at, and the effects, you know what I mean? It's like you're not going to get that same feeling at home. So
yeah,
I think definitely go see this one. Here we are again, talking about another box office movie when we're like, yeah, you need to go see some really quality films in the theater. We're just like,
we're waiting for them to come out.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But yeah, no, it was. I also really loved how campy it was. It gave that kind of comic book feel, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think, and I don't know what capacity they were still involved in it. I saw their names in the credit, but John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, guys who wrote and directed Game Night, they were heavily involved with this. They exited at some point, but I thought the movie was just awesome, dude. It was a lot of fun, and if you know anything about me, I was fully torqued by the end of it because I saw someone in it that is one of my favorite people on planet Earth. Again, I'm not going to give the spoiler, but go see it. And
fully torqued. You fucking came all over those AMC reclining chairs.
That too. Thankfully, my popcorn bucket was a bit low at that point, so I was able to do it in that. But yeah, I
but did. It was so full that it overflowed onto the seats. Like, I think you lost like 10 pounds.
Semantics. We don't got semantics. It's all good, man. It's all good. But no, it was so fun, and fuck, man. Well, should we wrap this up? Is this episode 4 in the books?
Episode 4 in the book, in the bag, in the jizz-filled popcorn bucket.
What did you think? What did you think so far of 4 compared to the other episodes we've done? Real quick, Shane, before we hang up.
Is this on air? Or are we gonna get off air?
I think we're still on air. Real quick, did you like where the show's going?
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think?
Hey, listen, I didn't.
You know what? Keep it to yourself because I don't give a fuck.
Oh wow!
I had to pull it out the last second. I had to sneak one in at the last second. Keep it to yourself. And on that note, we can wrap up episode 4. Adios.